Welcome. We are talking tonight about the best kind of movement that you can do for being over 40, perimenopause, menopause, and beyond, and what's going to work the best for you for losing weight, for belly fat, all the things, more strength, all the things that we want to do in order to be that healthy mama. So I have special guest tonight, Christine Miller. She's a personal trainer, menopause specialist, and we're going to be able to ask her questions and dive into all things related to movement. And I'm hoping to bust a few myths tonight. I'm hoping to make this easier for you to actually get the proper movement. I won't say what kind, get the right kind of movement into your life and make it easier. Okay, so let's move it over to Christine. And why don't you give us a little bit about your background and or how you got here?
Sure. I am Christine, and like Lucy said, I have been doing personal training. And once I hit perimenopause myself, I decided to get another certification as a menopause coach and specialist because even coming from the dance world, so I have my degree in dance. I'm not, like movement is what I do. I've been dancing since I was 2 years old. And I felt like I should know, like what is happening to my body and why am I all of a sudden gaining weight around my middle, even with the background that I had. So I went back to the drawing board. I got certified so that I could start to understand what changes were actually happening in my body and how I could better support them. Because the things that I had been doing in the past were not serving me anymore. And I needed to figure out, what it is that I needed to do to help support my body. And in doing so, I lost 15 pounds. I got better sleep. I started to, I wasn't getting cravings in the afternoon, having those afternoon crashes, and my moodiness was in check. So all of these things that I was struggling with all of a sudden became clearer why these things were happening to me and what I could do to better support myself through it. So what I'm here to talk to tonight, like Lucy said, is the number one exercise that will help you lose belly fat as a woman over 40. So I want to know what you guys are thinking. Do you feel like what kind of movement do you feel is best? I just want to kind of see where you're at, and no shame if you get it wrong. It's okay. I just want to kind of know like what you're thinking, because I think that we've been fed a lot of lies along the way. And I just kind of want to make sure that we know exactly what we should be doing at this point.
Yeah, and it's
Does it?
confusing and overwhelming out there. So,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
absolutely.
information. So go ahead and
So much.
unmute and let us know, what do you feel like is the best kind of movement for weight loss, or what have you been told is the best kind of movement for weight loss? What do you think, Linda?
But I have discovered Instagram since I am retired. I have more time to play, but I've been doing a lot of the Tai Chi kind of movements. And when I first started it, I thought, oh my gosh, this is really a lot. I did, um, like you said, Lucy, a little here, a little there, a little, and I feel like I noticed today I had to walk somewhere, and I feel like I have more energy
Yep,
and more, yeah.
that's
So not
awesome.
just not just walking. Before I thought it was just I had to go walk, but I think it's more than that for
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And walking is great. And I will never tell anybody not to walk. Walking is like great, but it's second to what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Any other
Yeah.
guesses?
Kathy, you want to make a guess? And you're muted, so you know. I don't know if you're able to unmute. Technology, such a pain.
If it's easier to go in the chat, you can tell me in the chat also.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Walking, yoga. Okay.
Nice.
Both of
And,
those things are great.
Oh,
yeah, I
did
can't
you?
tell you.
Yeah,
Zumba.
Zumba?
Just trying to be interactive here. Wanted to
Yeah.
get a feel for what
I guess-
everybody's thinking.
and I heard Zumba's good for you too, so
yeah.
Another
I
good
tried
one.
that. Yeah.
There's actually no there's no movement that is bad for you. Like I want you all to be moving in whatever way brings you joy and in a way that's going to make you want to continue to do it. But the number one way to lose belly fat for women over 40 is strength training. And I know it's not what a lot of people want to hear or not like what we've been told, right? I know for me, I always was under the impression that cardio like was it. And and I had to do like the boot camps, the HIIT workouts, the spin classes, the all these different things. And at this point in time in our life, our bodies are already under a lot of stress with the things that we're going through just because of the period of time we're in our life, like our careers, our relationships, our marriages, our kids, either we've raised them or we're raising them. And there's lots of different things going on in addition to declining hormones. So your body is already under a lot of stress. So the weight training is really where it's at for women over 40. It's actually a non-negotiable if you want to really be able to have that longevity and not just lifespan, but health span, because your muscles are a use it or lose it kind of thing. And every decade after 30, you can lose from 3 to 8% of your muscle mass. So I'm 48 years old. So I'm almost at 50. That's 2 decades after 30. I could have, if I wasn't strength training, lost 6 to 16% of my muscle mass. And when muscle mass goes down, so it's called sarcopenia. And then that can also lead to things like osteoporosis because the muscles are what move those bones around. And that movement helps to maintain bone density. So strength is key. And muscle is metabolism. The more muscle that you have on your body, the more your body burns through calories, even at rest, including sleeping. So the more muscle you have on you, the more you're going to burn, even doing nothing. So I think that is amazing. And it doesn't take a ton of work. It just takes some, doing and making sure that, you're working those muscles and starting someplace where you can actually continue to do it on a regular, consistent basis. So
Yeah. Consistency. That's the key.
yeah,
right?
that's the key, right? So I tell people the optimum is to strength train 3 to 4 days a week. But if you're doing 0 right now, 1 to 2 days is perfect. Like you start small. You start 1 day for 15 minutes. When that becomes routine, you do 2 days for 15 minutes and go from there. So that like it's a mind over matter thing. If it seems huge, you're never going to do it. If you break it down into small pieces and say, okay, I like how Lucy started with me. Like we were talking and she's like, what can I do? I'm really busy. I need to get this done. And like, how can I just start? So she started doing squats and push-ups like on the counter while dinner was cooking or while she was brushing her teeth or different things that she already normally does, but she added strength training in. And then she started becoming one of my clients and we started doing more and more and more. And now she's been consistent with this. Lucy, tell us a little bit about the changes that you're noticing.
Oh, for sure. Much more strength. Right before this call, I wanted to get in. I wanted to move my body a little bit because I've been in front of the computer for most of the afternoon. And I was able to do not a full pull up without assistance, but I was able to do it way more than ever before. And that is from tiny little increments of movement consistently. I really don't miss any workouts. I even did my workout at the hotel in Orlando over the
Also,
weekend. Yeah, they had a very nice gym there. And I just don't skip, and it's short. I really am doing about 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes 3 times a week for the last many months. That's it. That's all I'm
yeah,
doing. And I'm
yep,
gaining strength.
that's awesome. Yeah, and muscle is your most metabolically active tissue. And muscle, metabolism, blood sugar, and belly fat are very much connected. Like we talked about, muscle burns more calories than any other part of the body. So even at rest, the more muscle you have, the more it burns. And because of that muscle is like a blood sugar sponge. So the more muscle you have, the more your muscles are pulling that blood sugar out of your bloodstream and using it for energy in the muscle. So it's not creating those spikes, and it's regulating your blood sugar. It's making you more insulin sensitive, so that because estrogen drops, it's natural that your body gets more insulin resistant. So this kind of combats that. When you are weight training regularly and you're working those muscles and you're either maintaining or gaining the muscle, then that gives your body the signals to those muscles need that blood sugar, and it gets it out of the system. So there aren't those spikes. And when there aren't those spikes and your body isn't in like that stress or, always in that, you know,
Fight or flight.
trying to, fight or flight, then it has a chance to digest everything and rest, and your body just is in more of that cycle, and you don't have those highs and lows. You're more steady. um I'm trying to read my notes here.
Well, I'm just going to summarize everything so far. And because it's huge. This is huge. So what you're
Yeah.
saying is that having muscle is going to improve our bone health. It's going to improve our weight and metabolism and belly fat. And it's going to improve our overall strength,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. All those things are
Amazing.
true.
And these are
Yeah.
all the things that women want and need as
Yeah.
we age, as you reach 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. We need to have strength, right? We need to be able to get up the stairs, go out and have fun with grandkids, or just have fun with like whatever we want to do in our lives, whether it's traveling or gardening. And we just can't do that without really solid muscle mass and bone health, right?
Yep. And I would say to find your why. If this is something that you're struggling with, that you don't know how to fit into your everyday life, find your why. Like for me, I know that my kids don't have kids yet, but I'm going to be a grandma someday. And I want to be able to get down and play with my grandkids. My husband will be retiring, and we've worked hard and we want to travel and do things together. So I want to be able to be independent. So that's my why. And when I don't feel like getting up and doing my workout in the morning, I kind of remind myself of that. Like, who am I becoming? Like, who do I want to be in my 60s, 70s, 80s, and however long I'm on this earth, right? I'd like to have health span, not just lifespan. And muscle is what's going to do that for us.
It's the
Yeah. This also, so one of the things that I was going to say, the bottom line is that muscle is your metabolic currency, and every rep that you invest in that is your future. So questions on that so far? We're going to kind of go into now some of the mistakes that we make, or some of the things that we've been told. Do you have questions so far about things in your strength training journey, or maybe you haven't started and you're wondering how to do so.
Yeah, or any questions just regarding the importance of muscle. That's the biggest message so far, is just being able to understand how incredibly important that muscle is.
Yep. So I'm reading the chat
Oh,
now. It says, I like strength training, but I tend to stay away from floor work. Okay, that's okay. And how often should you train a week? So I would, if you're not doing anything, I would start with 1 to 2 days, 15 minutes. If you are and you want to bump it up, I would say ideally, optimally, 3 to 4 days a week is great.
and I think Carla unmuted, maybe has a question or comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, or ask, I guess, what the difference, I mean, overall is between using weights versus, some of the things that you've talked about, strength training, wall push-ups or, counter push-ups or
All of
squats.
all of that is body weight. So you're either using your body weight. Some movements, like we're standing up, squatting, our body weight is enough at the beginning, because you have to start somewhere. Your body is used to, your legs are used to holding up your body, but when you're going down and up and doing repetitions, I mean, your muscles get tired, right?
Mhm.
So you don't need to add weight until you feel like that's too easy. Like, say 3 sets of 10 of,
Mhm.
squats or something like that. When that becomes too easy, then you add the weight. So you would get dumbbells and you would hold dumbbells, and then you would do 3 sets of 10 with the dumbbells until that's too easy. Then you
Okay.
go up and weight on that.
Mhm. Okay, that makes sense.
When will you notice a difference with strength training? Does it trim you before your weight goes down? Um, It's different for everybody. Different people notice different areas. It depends on your body. Some people are more prone to building muscle, and some people it takes a little bit more work. But I would definitely say that in, you know, 4, 8, 12 weeks, you start to notice different things. So, like in 4 weeks, you'll maybe start to notice, like, oh, this doesn't feel so hard anymore. Like, I can do these reps and I feel pretty good. 8 weeks, you might start to see some definition in like your arms, or like, different places. Um, Depending on where your strengths lie. Like, some people like upper body, some people like lower body. So if you're working with heavier weights, like in your lower body, you might see lower body definition first. If you have never worked out your upper body and you're using weights, then you might see definition in your arms or your shoulders or your back or something like that, because you've never done it before. So it kind of depends what you see and where you see it, but you'll definitely see things. Your clothes will start to be looser. You'll start to see the definition in the mirror. I would say definitely by 12 weeks, you should be seeing like the slow progression. 4, 8, 12 weeks. You should definitely start seeing progress. And weight may not go down right away. Muscle is dense. So 1 pound of fat looks a lot bigger than 1 pound of muscle. So you'll see the shrink in your body, like it'll tone up, but it's still a pound and like you're putting on muscle. So you may not see a change on the scale. I wouldn't say that the scale is the best indicator of progress in the beginning, especially if you're trying to lose weight and build strength at the same time. You may not see that on the scale right away. I think that it tends to deter a lot of women. They think that, oh, I'm not making progress, so I don't want to keep going. But keep going. I'm telling you, it will show, and it will make a huge, huge difference in the long run. How about blood sugar numbers when they go down? What do you mean?
Yeah, I can chime in here a little bit. When will the blood sugar numbers go down is the question.
Okay.
I
So
just lost you. What happened?
No, we can see you, Kathy, and we can hear you. You're good.
I'm glad you can see me, but I can't see you. Hold on a second.
I'm going to jump
All
into
right.
the answer here for you.
Okay.
So, one of the amazing things about movement in general is that they will immediately, that movement is going to immediately improve your blood sugar. And it does not have to be strength training. So, if you have a meal and you do some stretching or go for a gentle walk afterwards, you will immediately see a change in your blood sugar numbers. So,
Yep.
you don't have to wait at all for that. Now, as you build more muscle, by
Okay.
doing a strength training routine over several weeks and being consistent, you're going to see an improvement with your blood sugar overall. So that
Okay.
when you go and eat a meal that maybe normally would have caused your blood sugar to go much higher, it's now going to be a much slower rise. It's not going
Okay.
to go nearly as high. So it's very amazing if you have any kind of insulin resistance or blood sugar, prediabetes, anything like that. This is the way to go.
Yeah.
Build the muscle.
Muscles are like sponges for blood sugar.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
Okay.
just gonna pause here and welcome. We have Jackie that just entered. So welcome, Jackie. Glad you're here.
Hello.
So I'm wondering, Christine, if we can go
Yes.
back and dig in. I just want to make sure everybody really, really understands the difference between the benefits of cardio versus strength training, and maybe why cardio, high intensity cardio, isn't the answer for women over 40.
Yep. That's the next thing that I was going to talk about. So we talked about strength training and why it's important. And we now know how many times a week we should be doing that. And cardio is another aspect of movement
Fitness.
and working out. And it's great for you. It's good for your heart. It's good for, just endurance, the lung capacity. There's lots of things that it's great for. But high intensity interval training should be done in short bouts and maybe like once or twice a week. It's not the be all end all like we used to think that it was. I know myself, I used to think we're told, when you're running on the treadmill, you burn more calories. You're in that fat burning mode. However, the minute you're off of it, you're not doing that anymore. So if you're killing yourself on these high intensity workouts, your body is having a harder time to recover now that you're over 40 with the dropping hormones. And the way that your body handles stress now is just different. That spikes cortisol. So if you're doing high intensity cardio, more than once or twice a week, and you're doing it for long periods of times, you're going to send your cortisol through the roof. And that's not a good thing. Cortisol is actually not a bad thing. It's put in place. It's in our bodies to protect us. It's to help us with that fight or flight response when there's an emergency. However, if you chronically have that elevated, it's going to wreak havoc with the rest of your bones. And it's just, you're not going to sleep good. It's going to throw everything else off. Cortisol is supposed to spike in the morning. That's why you wake up. You wake up with high cortisol, and as the day progresses, it should gradually drop off. And that kind of tells you at night when, you're done for the day and it's time for bed. So that's how it's supposed to work. However, if you're doing high intensity cardio multiple times a week and you're really going at it for longer than 30 minutes, you're going to spike that and keep, that elevated chronically. And that's just not where it's at for us. It's can cause a lot of problems in the long run. Your body isn't going to recover the way that it used to. That might have been okay in your 20s and maybe 30s, but as you hit 40s and above, that's not going to work for you anymore. It's actually going to slow your progress, and your body is going to hold on to that fat because it's in that fight or flight mode, and it doesn't know that it's safe to release the fat. Your body has to be in rest and digest to, to feel safe and to know like, okay, I'm being supported. I'm fueling my body. I'm working my muscles. I'm getting the rest that I need in between sessions. So that's the other thing. So we talked about strength 3 to 4 times a week, ideally, but starting slower and moving up to that. Then we have cardio. You can do cardio 1 to 2 times a week. Walking and swimming and biking and things that are low to moderate cardio are actually very good for you. And that is where your fat burning zone is at. So for us, women over 40, that's the window that we need to be in, low to moderate. You should be able to talk, hold on a conversation with a friend, and like a brisk walk, great, especially after meals, like Lucy was saying. Awesome. You can do that daily. You could swim, you could bike. But if you're going to do something like a run or higher intensity interval training classes or boot camp style classes or longer cardio classes, those should be limited to 1 to 2 times a week. So that leaves 2 days or so for active recovery or complete rest. So you know your body best. And that is, going to be something that you can experiment with. But sleep, recovery, and rest are your secret weapons in peri and postmenopause. I had no idea when I was in my younger days that rest was so important. I actually felt like resting was lazy when I was younger, and I totally don't feel that way anymore. It is essential. It's one of the habits that really solidifies our progress in the gym. So we don't build muscle in our workouts. We build muscle when we recover, in our sleep, in our rest. So if you're not resting, if you're not recovering, you're not going to get the results that you desire and that you're looking for. Yeah. So rest and recovery, super important. Sleep deprivation becomes a problem in this phase of life. So having great sleep hygiene is going to be important. If you are only getting, broken sleep, it's going to be a little bit more of a slow path for you. So sleep is huge. If that is something that is hard for you, that's like at the top of the list to get under control, because sleep does affect everything else. It affects your hunger hormones. So if you don't sleep, you're going to end up feeling more hungry. It also is going to spike your cortisol, which is going to work against us. And if you're not sleeping, you're not recovering. So it's very, very important to get that as a supportive lifestyle habit to best, get the results the quickest, but and most efficient way possible. And then there's fueling, which Lucy talks to you about regularly, but I'd be, remiss if I didn't say that if you are upping your activity and doing the strength training, you really, really have to make sure that you're getting your protein, because protein is what builds the muscle. And you have to actually get everything, because carbs give you the energy, fats help with hormones and brain health, and fiber is going to be your best friend as well in this. So having balanced meals and really supporting the movement that you're doing is also key, because they all fit together and they all go hand in hand. So it might sound overwhelming. There's a lot to think about, and we've got sleep, we've got healthy nutrition, we have movement, knowing which kinds of movement to do, but you don't have to do it all at once. You can start small and get that habit down, and then add something, and then keep going like that, so that you can be consistent. Consistency is where the long-term results happen. It's not something that we start and we stop. It's a choice to make this a lifestyle. Do you want to be strong and able and capable of doing everything that you want to do when you get older, or not? I kind of think when you put it that way, it kind of just puts things in perspective and makes it that much more important.
Yeah. Awesome. And I want to recap something that you had said a little earlier, just so that we're all really understanding this. But when women cut calories, because you were just talking about fuel and getting enough protein, fiber, fats, all that, and calories overall, we have to get that in order to nourish those muscles. So if we are cutting calories or not eating enough, and we are doing a lot of cardio, even Zumba class is cardio, spin class, HIIT workouts, fast-paced, long duration type of activity. Plus, we're intermittent fasting, which is very popular. There's a lot of, I'm talking to people that are doing 16 hours of fasting. Plus, they have a stressful lifestyle because career, kids, grandkids, life, relationships, even if you're a worrier, all of that adds to the stress. Plus, you're not really getting great sleep because, and I've heard a lot of different things, husband snores, dog is elderly, all kinds of different reasons why you might not be getting great sleep. This is a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for belly fat and stubborn weight that is not going to leave your body. So the cutting calories, the doing cardio, the intermittent fasting, the stressful lifestyle, and the poor sleep is a recipe for disaster that we really need to break down one little step at a time, not overhaul your entire life. One little step at a time.
And that's the key. This is the whole all or nothing mindset is kind of what does us in. So I've been guilty of it. I say, okay, like I need to lose this weight. I'm gonna do these exercises. I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna go to bed at this time, and I try to do everything all at once. And it might work for a week, and then I'm like, this is hard,
Right.
and I get overwhelmed, right? So the key is to pick something that you feel is what you need at this moment, and pick a small thing that you can do that doesn't feel too hard to do on a regular basis. And then you can always increase. So I know it seems silly to say, okay, I'm going to work out one day for 15 minutes, but you'll be amazed at the progress that you can make in one day for 15 minutes. And then you'll start to feel like, oh, well, if I do it for one day for 15 minutes, what happens when I do it for 2? And then you start to get a little bit more motivated because you're seeing and feeling the results. So start small. That's key.
Yes, totally. Okay, so now let's talk about exactly what this might look like. What could we do during that 15 minutes that would maybe build some muscle?
So start with movements.
And I did see some questions in the chat too. So
Okay.
you can get to those whenever.
Okay. So start with movements that you're familiar with. So I usually like to start with things like squats. We all know how to bend down and pick something up and stand back up. And it's useful in everyday life. So squat, stand, squat, stand. You can use a chair. You can sit into the chair and then stand up. Practice getting up. That's going to be key as we get older, right? We have to get up. We're going to go to the bathroom. We're going to stand up from the toilet. And, those things are functional movements. Also, pushing movements, things like push-ups. We can do it on the wall. You can do it on the counter. That works. Chest muscles. We're going to need to, push things away. You can do things like lunges where you stand here. You can be in place, down, and up. Or you can do them walking where you have to move through space. Just different parts of your body so that you're working each muscle group. So push-ups work your chest. Squats, lunges work your legs. Things like glute bridges where you're laying down on the floor with your knees up to the ceiling and then lifting those hips up. That works the back of your legs and your glutes. All those things are pretty familiar movements, and something that I think that you can start with pretty easily. If there's more specific things that you want and you want something more, tailored to you, say you have shoulder issues or knee pain or whatever, that's something that we can talk about. I do free clarity calls, and we can talk about what it is that you're looking for and if that's something that I could provide for you. The questions in the chat say, what size weights are good to start with and how should we start? So this is what I say when I don't know the person yet. If I haven't worked with you and I don't know, what your capabilities are, if you are coordinated, how well your body, works in parameters like a good form, you'll start small. You like certain movements like squats, you can start just body weight. And then I would say start with maybe 5 pounds. And if you're doing 3 sets of 10 of something, then if at 10, you feel like you're going to die, then it's probably a little too heavy. If at 3 or 4, you feel like, at 10, if you feel good, then you've picked a good weight. If it feels like just starting to get hard, then, that's good. If you are, sorry. All right. So we're starting with 5 pounds. We're doing 3 sets of 10. If we get to 4 or 5 and we feel like that's hard, we went too heavy. If we can get all the way to 10 and we feel like we can do more, then that's too light. So you're trying to find that happy medium where at like 7, 8, 9, 10, it's starting to feel hard. And then you rest in between the sets and then you do it again. And so, in the beginning, 3 sets of 10 might feel hard. You might not get to 10 at the 3rd set. That's okay. You've got to start somewhere. So I can't give you an exact answer of what you can start with for weight. It depends on how much muscle you have already, form, ailments, like joint movements, different things happen. I need to, kind of know more about you, but you can start someplace and then just see where you're at and then see how you recover. So say you did, 5 pounds and then the next day you feel good. You say, okay, well, maybe next time I could do 8 pounds. And you don't go up in huge increments. You start small and you build small and you go from there. Does that answer your question, Linda?
Yeah, I think that's a really good summary. It's kind of like you start with something very small and see how it feels. See if you can get to 10 easily or with just enough feeling like, okay, this is a little bit hard, and see how you feel the next day, right? Because if you're dying, maybe
You're not going to want to do it again, right?
Right. But if you get to the next day and you feel nothing, then maybe we need to boost it up a little bit.
A little soreness is okay, but you shouldn't be sore for 2 or 3, if, like longer than that. Like 1 day of soreness is, okay. You might, if you go heavy on something and you worked a little too hard, you'll know, okay, like 2 days, you're like, okay, I went a little bit crazy on that. And like, nah, I just take it back a notch and you'll know. And every day is a little bit different. You'll start to be able to recognize the days where you can push and the days where you might not want to push, like not necessarily want, but like that your body's telling you not to, right? I want you to challenge yourself, but at the same time, I want you to listen to your body and know what's best for you. And it can take time in the beginning if you're not familiar with strength training, because it is one of those things that changes over time, and stress can make a difference. If you slept the night before, it can make a difference. So if you didn't sleep and your body's feeling weak and you still want to do your workout, I would do the workout, but I would adjust it so that you're not doing the same amount of weight, or C, maybe not do the third set or something like that. Something is better than nothing, but listening to your body is also key to keeping the habit long term.
And I think that that's like one of the most important things too for me, because strength training, fitness, exercise, workouts, that is not something that comes naturally for me. It is a struggle. It always has been. I was a musician growing up. I did not do any sports or anything like that. But of course, I know the importance of it. And I know that I want to have that in my life because I want to age gracefully and I want the best quality of life as I age. So, one of the things that works for me, and maybe this will resonate with you and you can take this too and use it for yourself, is I don't put a lot of pressure on myself. I actually give myself a lot of permission to do what I think feels right. And usually when I give myself that permission and I don't push, I end up doing the workout. This morning was a great example. And it's actually a lot of mornings. I woke up and I said, I'm just not sure. I have an 8 a.m. meeting and I'm not sure that I really want to push myself to get my workout done before that meeting and get the shower in and all this stuff. So I said, well, I'll give myself that option. I'll start with my walk and we'll see. And so I, go on the walk and I'm like, well, maybe I could do one set. I have time for that. That's not a big deal. I do one set. And then I say to myself, well, I guess I could do another set. And, that would definitely, because I keep my why in mind, that would definitely help me progress. And I'm not feeling terrible. So I guess I'll do another set. And that one, I only did half my pull-ups. I said, you know what? I don't want to push myself to the point where I'm miserable. So I did half my pull-ups. And then I was like, yeah, I can just do the last set. I might as well. And then workout's done.
Yeah.
And that's how I function most days.
And I think that is an absolutely great way to go about it. And I think that the clients that I work with that are most successful are learning that. Like they're learning that progress over perfection is key, and that taking it day by day. Like it doesn't have to look a certain way. Yes, you should get your weight training. Yes, you should walk. Yes, you should do some cardio. But the key is to just keep moving. Just, do things that you can continue with long term, however that looks for you on any given day.
That is huge. That is huge. If you feel like you could only do this for a week and you could never do that particular workout that you're doing on a long-term basis, then it's probably not the right fit for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We want to find
There's
something
one
that's
other
sustainable.
question. One
Carla,
other question over
yes.
here. Says, is the only way to test cortisol level through blood tests, no self-testing?
So you can test cortisol through saliva, and they do send those tests, those kits to your house. So you can do it through, there's many different ways to order it. You don't have to get it through your doctor. You'll be paying out of pocket, but a lot of times your doctor's not going to order it anyways. So most of the time it's going to be out of pocket.
I ordered mine through my naturopath in New Hampshire. She sent it to my house and I did it that way.
Yeah. And the other thing is, generally, we don't have to test for it if there's not anything like really huge red flags. I basically figure that everyone has a little bit of cortisol issue when I work with someone. So I am always taking that into consideration when we come up with a plan. I'm taking insulin resistance into consideration, and I'm taking cortisol into consideration for pretty much everyone. Because if you have belly fat or if you have stubborn weight that is just not coming off, there's something going on in your body that is holding on to that weight. And typically it's stress related or it's blood sugar related. And we might not even know it. So a lot of times insulin resistance does not show up on your labs. So you might get totally normal labs and be like, no, my blood sugar's fine. But insulin resistance could still be there. So I take that into consideration anytime I create a plan for somebody.
Yeah. Do you actually do testing, Lucy? Do you work with someone who does, or do you just look at people's blood work?
Typically, if somebody wants a set of labs, I will work with there's a naturopath in New Hampshire that I work with. And so she'll order the tests and everything. Technically, I can, but I really try to keep the testing and the test reading with the functional doctor. And then I support anything that comes back. And typically, if somebody has a set of labs, I will always review them myself as well and take that into consideration too. So I can read them, but I tend to, if it's that type of a situation, I tend to just pull in the naturopath and have her order everything.
Yeah, good to know.
Yep. Yep.
Any other questions?
Yeah. What else? What else? While you guys are thinking of questions, I'll share with you some of the other things that I have been doing with Christine that I feel like are very helpful. Simple exercises, because I'm not a gym rat. I work out in my mudroom, and I have a set of 5-pound weights and a set of 10-pound weights and a yoga mat and a pull-up bar and a couple bands. So nothing crazy, real easy. So I'll do, Christine has me doing some like I don't know what you call those, where you lift.
Front raises?
Yep. Those, and then more towards the sides.
Yeah. Lateral raises?
Yep. Deadlifts. That's just, you hinge at the hips and you're just hinging and I don't know, bending over. Is that the right way to say that? Push-ups, pull-ups, squats, 2 kinds of squats, regular squats, and then sumo squats where you just have your legs a little bit wider.
Yeah, and your feet turned out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And those glute bridges.
Yep.
So just really basic exercises that are not complicated. Not all of them do I use weights with, or maybe half. And I'm using either 5 pounds, 10 pounds. And it's a great little workout that was, tailored for me, designed for me where I was at. Because Christine's going to meet you where you're at and design something that is going to help you progress in a way that's not going to cause injury, not going to burn you out.
Yes.
And is going to help you to progress. So
Yep.
That has been
Absolutely.
super helpful.
Christine,
Yeah.
how do you feel about the those elastic bands? My husband likes to use the ones that have handles, and they're different strengths. Or can you use those as weight kind of things?
Absolutely. Yep. And they're great to travel with. I've been putting, like, this month in my school community, I have the premium tier where I give them new workouts each month. And a lot of people are traveling because it's summer. So I created some of the movement with that in mind and put together workouts with the bands because they're really easy to put in your suitcase. They don't weigh a lot, and you can do it right in your hotel room. You don't even need to have a gym or anything. So I think it's a fantastic way. And especially if you don't have a lot of space in your house to keep weights, and weights can get, like, expensive. You know what I mean? Like, starting small, 5 to 10 pounds is going to be, fine. But as you progress, if you want, they're all expenses, but the bands, you can buy like a set of 5 different strengths and it's like $20. So it's a perfect way to start.
Yeah. You can do, bent over rows. Forgot about those. You can
Bent over rows.
And yes. So I just dropped Christine's free group, Small Daily Habits. I dropped that into the chat. So if you're not in there, I highly recommend. And then her premium tier, she provides workouts, and I think are those monthly workouts?
Yep. So each month I have 3 workouts in there. I have a track where you can do 15-minute workouts and a track where you can challenge yourself to do 30 or somewhere in between.
I'm not there yet.
And if you're kind of like jumping from 15 to 20, 25, I give you options. And then I also do one live workout every week, but it is at the crack of dawn.
That's changing though, right? You said
7:30 to 7:30 a.m. In the summer, because I work with a lot of teachers and people who are working from home. So 7:30 in the morning for a workout on Thursdays. So it's only a 15-minute workout. You get in, you get out, you know it's over. And then we're also combining the call this summer with the workout. So we're going to do one full hour from 7:30 to 8:30. We're going to do 15 minutes of workout, and then we're going to talk about our wins, our struggles, any questions that come up about lifestyle or things that, you keep, tripping over or whatever comes up, so that we can, brainstorm. It's nice in a group too, where you can hear what other people are struggling with or what other people are winning at, so that you can kind of say, oh, okay, that might work for me too. Or, okay, now I know she's struggling with that. I'm going to try to avoid that struggle, So it's nice.
And when does it start that you're doing the 7:30 a.m.?
July. I'm going to start in
okay.
July.
So not till
Yeah.
July. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Any last questions before we go? This has been so awesome. See Jackie, Andrea. Any questions? Carla says, thank you. Always provide great info.
You're welcome, Carla.
Yes, you're very welcome. Well, I hope everyone has a really amazing night tonight and a great week. And I hope that you've learned something and are able to do a little bit of movement. Doesn't even have to be a
Yeah.
15-minute workout.
Nope.
I've told the story a million times. 2 minutes counts. 2 minutes actually
And all
make
counts.
a difference. So when you're
Absolutely.
brushing your teeth tonight, the other thing I do when I'm brushing my teeth lately is I just been doing, what do you call these raises where I'm just getting up on my
Oh, calf raises.
calf raises. I'm
Yes.
just doing that because you know what?
Yeah.
That's great.
And
for
that works
balance.
balance.
Yeah. Balance is important too as we age. We didn't really even get into that.
Absolutely. I sneak that in there too.
Yeah. That's great. So everybody do a
Absolutely.
little something. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Sounds
much,
good.
Christine.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.